All right, let's get right into it. Welcome to The Explainer. If you're a business leader running operations in Hong Kong right now, you already know the digital landscape is shifting right under your feet, and it's happening fast. Today, we're unpacking a really comprehensive 2026 guide from Atlant Security that compares the top 8 cybersecurity firms in Hong Kong. We're going to take a hard look at the escalating threat landscape, the new regulations coming down the pipeline, and most importantly, how to actually choose the right partner to keep your business secure. So if you want to cut through all the jargon and get a clear, practical understanding of your options, you're in the right place.
To understand why this matters right now, there is one shocking number that should honestly stop you in your tracks: 108%. Last year, the Hong Kong Computer Emergency Response Team, HKCERT, handled over 12,500 security incidents. But the real story is that phishing incidents specifically skyrocketed by 108%, hitting nearly 8,000 cases. And alongside that, they detected over 48,000 malicious URLs. Because Hong Kong is this massive international financial hub, it's basically a gold mine for credential harvesting, business email compromise, and CEO fraud. Attackers aren't just casually knocking anymore. We're seeing the most sophisticated 5-year spike in attacks the region has ever dealt with.
But here's the really concerning part. While threats are surging by triple digits, Hong Kong's Enterprise Cybersecurity Readiness Index is currently sitting at a score of just 52.8 out of 100. Sure, there was a slight bump recently, but this is still officially classified as just basic maturity. A score this low signals some very serious, widespread vulnerabilities across technology, internal company policies, and just basic human awareness. The gap between how advanced the attackers are and how prepared businesses are is getting wider every single day.
So, to help close that gap, here is our game plan for today's explainer. First, the 2026 threat and regulatory landscape. Second, a breakdown of the top 8 security firms. Third, how to actually go about selecting your partner. And finally, the ROI of cyber defense.
Okay, starting with Section 1, the 2026 threat and regulatory landscape.
These days, you aren't just fighting off hackers. You are racing against some seriously compounding compliance pressures. Right now, 4 major regulatory frameworks are converging on Hong Kong businesses. First off, you have the PDPO, which handles data protection and breach notifications for anyone processing personal data. Then, for financial and banking institutions, you have very specific, strict guidelines from the SFC and the HKMA. But I really want to emphasize the 2026 Critical Infrastructure Law. This new legislation is a total game changer. While the absolute final details are still being ironed out, it is expected to mandate strict security assessments, incident reporting, and mandatory compliance audits for operators in sectors like finance, energy, transport, and telecommunications. Getting prepared for this isn't just a best practice anymore, it's a hard operational requirement.
Moving on to Section 2, the top 8 security firms.
So let's pivot from the problem to the solutions. When you look at the top-tier security partners in Hong Kong, they basically fall into 2 main camps: global giants and local boutiques. The global firms bring incredible scale and those massive 24/7 security operations centers. Local boutiques, on the other hand, give you extreme agility. We're talking rapid 48-hour proof of concepts, vendor-neutral advice, and direct access to senior executives who actually do the work. Depending on your specific business needs, you might lean heavily toward one, or honestly, a lot of companies use a hybrid approach, partnering with a boutique for high-level strategy and a global firm for continuous monitoring. Let's actually break down that elite list for 2026. Coming in at rank number 1, we have Atlant Security. They stand out as a boutique, vendor-neutral expert that's highly regarded for delivering a proof of concept in just 48 hours, along with fully managed packages. Ranks 2 through 5, that's Palo Alto Networks, Fortinet, Checkpoint, and Trend Micro, represent your global technology powerhouses. They offer these massive, AI-driven hardware and cloud ecosystems. At number 6 is Trustwave, which is a pure-play managed security service provider known for global threat hunting. And rounding out the list at 7 and 8 are PwC and Deloitte, bringing that classic Big 4 board-level advisory and enterprise risk strategy. It's a great list because it scales perfectly from specialized, hands-on advisors all the way up to hyperscale tech giants. Now, if you're a business leader without a deep technical background, you might hear the term VCSO thrown around a lot when talking to these firms. It stands for Virtual Chief Information Security Officer. Basically, it's an outsourced security partner that drops executive-level strategy and guidance right into your boardroom, but without the massive payroll overhead of hiring a full-time in-house CISO.
It's a brilliantly practical way to instantly level up your leadership, which is especially crucial when you're trying to align your company with those incoming 2026 regulations we talked about.
All right, let's look at Section 3, selecting your partner.
With a list of heavy hitters like that, how do you actually choose the right one? The original source material lays out 10 different selection factors, but we've boiled them down to the 5 absolute bottom-line criteria you need to care about. First, speed of delivery. If you're staring down a deadline or a crisis, can they move fast? You want firms that can offer a proof of concept in 48 hours or less. Second, regulatory fit. Do they truly understand Hong Kong's PDPO and that upcoming critical infrastructure law? Third is vendor neutrality. You need a partner who recommends what actually works for your business, not just the software they happen to sell. Fourth is talent depth. Do they have real, seasoned red teamers and forensics experts on staff? And finally, support models. You need guaranteed, rock-solid service-level agreements that hold them entirely accountable.
Finally, Section 4, the ROI of cyber defense.
Selecting a partner always comes down to the financial reality. And this is exactly why cybersecurity is an investment, not a sunk cost. Let's look at the risk. The average cost of a data breach in the ASEAN region right now is $4.34 million. That is a financially devastating, potentially business-ending event. Compare that to the solution. Engaging one of these top-tier managed SOC services in Hong Kong generally runs between 40,000 to 120,000 Hong Kong dollars per month. Even if you stack on a virtual CISO engagement at 25 to 80,000 or some one-time penetration tests, professional defense is just a tiny fraction of the risk. Partnering with one of these top 8 firms isn't some expensive burden. In 2026, it is literal financial survival.
So that leaves us with one critical question. With phishing attacks surging by 108%, overall enterprise readiness still sitting at a basic level, and new, incredibly strict compliance mandates barreling toward us, is your business truly ready for the 2026 critical infrastructure law? It is absolutely the time to evaluate your current setup, look into the top 8 partners we've broken down today, and take proactive action before the regulators, or worse, the attackers, force your hand. Thanks for joining me on The Explainer, and we'll catch you next time.